Hi, in this video we're using Substance 3D Designer to create simple shapes with splines. Let's go over the keynotes and parameters we'll use first. A spline circle node generates a single spline in the shape of a circle. Use spiral to build a spiral from the circle. Spiral turns defines the number of turns made by the spiral. The spline sample thickness node modifies the spline thickness based on a custom thickness map. With sampling mode, you have control over how the map affects the splines. You can set the map to affect splines in absolute texture space or along their length. The spline fill node makes a solid shape mask. The spline render node draws solid line segments along the input splines. Random luminance applies a random grayscale value for each string of uncut segments in a spline. Random segment start and end modifies the probability of cutting segments near the spline start and end. Random offset sets the maximum amount of displacement applied to each cut segment along its normal. To make our own complex custom shapes, we'll use a spline polyquadratic node build the shapes by moving the points and activate close spline. A spline warp node helps to deform the shape even further. If 10 points are not enough, you always have the option to connect several spline polyquadratic nodes in a row. Use the smoothness slider for each point to control how smooth it will be. You have to activate Connect Start to input spline for all nodes after the first. For the last in row, you have to activate Connect End to input spline 2. Then use the spline merge list before the spline fill to get the smooth filled shape without artifacts. To get nice trails between curve, first line up several spline cubic nodes. Make sure that the splines, points and splines order are correct. Then use a spline bridge list node for the base of the trails. Switch to quadratic Bezier for nice smoother curves. With the spline render node we get our final trails. Just experiment with the different random settings for variation. You can bridge simple shapes with the spline bridge to splines node. Feed both inputs with the same spline and use the different start and end spline sliders to control how it gets filled. The spiral and spiral turns parameter of the spline circle node are great to create burst shapes. To control the thickness of the splines, the spline sample thickness node is awesome. It gives you full control by using a custom thickness map. By using the cubic Bezier bridge splines type, you get really nice organic curved shapes as well. By using different shapes, you get some nice bubble splatters. They look organic and you can tweak them with the setting of the spline circle and scatter on spline grayscale nodes. Especially the various random parameters and multiple custom pattern inputs give you a huge freedom. With multiple spline cubic and spline bridge list node, we build a shape to fill later on with other shapes based on splines. This really gives the freedom to generate stuff like fur, feathers and much more. A scatter on spline grayscale node with the cone pattern is nice for stylized hair shapes. We scatter those with another scatter on spline grayscale node to build a fur-filled shape. The various random parameters add a more natural organic touch. With this method you can create so many different shapes. Have fun while experimenting with it. If you want to learn more, you can download and open the graphs shown in the video. Thanks for watching and we would love to hear your thoughts, ideas and suggestions for future quick tips, so let us know them in the comments. See you in the next quick tip episode.